Welcome to the Swift Lore Podcast.
What was that?
I was going for kind of like a hype, like wrestling intro moment.
Interesting. You know, I actually heard someone the other day compare like Taylor Swift's fandom to the wrestling fandom about how like if you get it, you get it, and if you don't, you don't.
I think I sent you that TikTok, or you sent it to me.
Oh.
Or maybe Brianne sent it to us both.
Oh yeah, it's possible. Do any of us ever have a thought that hasn't been shared between us already?
No.
No.
Abby and Kat were born in 1997 and became best friends when they were 6. Grew up together and started a band and bonded over music ever since. 20 years later, they are all grown up and spend their free time analyzing lyrics. Now here they are talking all about their Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift. Taylor, if you're listening, we love you.
So, welcome to Swift Lore Podcast, where we dive into the lyrics and lore of our Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift.
Absolutely, that's why we're here.
I'm Kat,
I'm Abby.
and we're drinking Swift tea.
We are. Okay, so I went to this boutique by my parents' house. Don't stalk my parents, but it's called Lala. I think it stands for Live and Laugh Always, or Live and Love, Laugh and Love. It's two of those. You get it. And I walk in, and there's just a whole Taylor Swift display.
Incredible.
And this was right after TTPD just came out. And they had like a Taylor Swift cutout. They had merch that like they'd made specifically. They just had a Taylor Swift party.
Slay.
Where they made like Taylor Swift scented things. It was just really cool. So then
cute.
I saw Swift Tea, which it's spelled, her name and then TEA at the end.
Like
and
the drink.
Like the drink. And so I had to buy it.
Smells really good.
It's like a rose hibiscus.
I think I bought like a variation of this, but it wasn't Swift tea. It's just that it had similar ingredients, and I think I bought it like when I was going to New Paltz.
Cheers.
And fitting of our themes, I was trying to figure out mugs that worked for our themes. I have a Shakespeare mug because I'm doing So Long London.
Right.
And then Abby's is gray. That was the
For How Did It End? Yeah, and the reason why we chose these songs is because they're sort of both track 5s in the Tortured Poets department.
Which is a realization I got to have twice. Because I guess I haven't watched back the clip of us listening to How Did It End for the first time. But I guess during that, we realized it was the track 5 of the anthology.
Yes.
And then 2 days later, I text the group chat, guys, How Did It End is the track 5 of the anthology. And Abby goes, it's so nice that you already knew this. She was like, you already had this realization. And I was like, well, the tequila had the realization. My brain didn't. The tequila brain did. It's different.
True, but honestly, by the end of that night, like that back half really did.
We just were fucking gone.
Just
because
bled
we
together.
drank 2 bottles of wine and like so much tequila. Like I'm staring at the tequila bottle. It was much more full when we started the night.
Oh yeah, because it's still there. It's been weeks, but it haunts us.
It's in my house.
Yeah,
it's in me house.
That's true.
Which is where we record. So
that is true.
The inescapable bottle of tequila. Also, I feel like we've been drinking that bottle of tequila for fucking a year.
I'm pretty sure we have, yes. And it really
I
bad
think it's
tequila.
been actually the same level of tequila in that bottle since like for months. I feel like every time we drink it, it refills itself magically. It's the Sisyphusian tequila.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, we've got the live stream of the tour because the tour started happening again.
Yes, the tour is back.
Holy shit.
I think next week's episode we're gonna do like a dive into all the changes and stuff. Like,
okay,
we're gonna because
this week it's packed. It's packed.
This week
and loaded.
it's packed. Yeah. So we'll talk in next week's episode also because then we'll all have had some time to process things.
Yes.
But we do have the live stream going on my TV in our peripheral vision. So if we keep getting distracted by gay Coco Melon, aka the Eras Tour. Anytime that we are watching something that our eyes get stuck on, we call it gay Coco Melon every time
because we're gay and because we can't stop watching.
Other things that have been dubbed gay Coco Melon include those like bouncy fruit videos, but with like a Fletcher song in the background. That was also gay Coco Melon. Anything with Hillary Duff in it.
Oh, sure. And Renee Rapp.
And anything with Renee Rapp or Chapel Roan. Chapel Roan's Coachella. Coachella melon. There we go. Okay. But as I just said was 10 seconds ago, I was like, we have so much to talk about. We won't talk about that. And then I kept fucking talking about shit. So I do have my phone here. Cool. I feel like I should go first
Because you go first. That makes sense.
Yeah. So long, London.
So long. We're both wearing white today.
Oh, right. I didn't explain my outfit. So I'm wearing this like flowy white poet shirt that I got specifically for seeing a Shakespeare play at the Globe in London when I went to visit. So since it's so long, London, I thought I'd bring back the fit. I don't wear this shirt a lot because I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but it is so fucking wrinkly and it is impossible to get the wrinkles out of this thing. So it's just always there.
I get it. I've got clothes like that too. Sometimes I just embrace the wrinkles because if you can't handle me at my wrinkliest, then get out.
That's true. Yeah. So
who has time to iron in times like these?
I know. I had a steamer. It got lost in one of my moves. I don't know where it is. It's probably in my parents' basement or something, but I don't know. So you're getting me at my wrinkliest.
My outfit is just like a white lace dress that I've never actually worn before. I bought it and I didn't quite like the way it looked, but then I said that to Kat and she just...
and then I was like, I'm going to be so real. I have not stopped staring at your boobs. No Romo. Yes, homo, no Romo.
Yes, homo. Which is amazing, and thank you for that. So anyway, if you watch the video version of this on YouTube, you can also enjoy. You're welcome.
So Long London is the 5th track off of the Tortured Poets Department, TTPD for short, or also Tortured Poets for short. And I forgot to include what my predictions were in my actual notes, so I just popped this in here. So for So Long London, I said, I think this will be about her leaving her self-induced exile after the Taylor Swift is over party. I was not correct.
Right.
What do you remember what you said about it?
My prediction was this is how she's going to address her breakup.
Which it kind of is.
I think it definitely is.
I think How Did It End kind of addresses it more, but
true. But I didn't know about How Did It End at the time.
None of us knew. What fools. Look at this idiotic fool that you made me, Taylor Swift.
Truly.
So this song, So Long London, was written and produced by Taylor Swift and Aaron Dessner, and it was recorded at Long Pond Studios, like the Folklore Session. Which that's a cool studio. And our boy, Jason Lipschitz.
Jason Lipschitz is back?
He's back.
Oh, Jason.
And he did a ranking of all of Tortured Poets, the anthology, and So Long London ranked 4th for him.
Really?
Yeah, so he said every line of So Long London drips with such a raw honesty that by its conclusion, Swift sounds like she's been slightly healed from the act of catharsis. And feeling defensive and deceived, Swift shoves her darkest insecurities out into the light, and the result is breathtaking.
Jason Lipschitz. I didn't say your name right. Jason, come on the pod.
Come on the pod.
Jason, the man that you are.
The man that you are.
Like, how many
Swiftie
times
that you are.
have we talked about this person?
Because he's in every single Wikipedia article that has Taylor Swift criticism like listed, and he always has bangers. He has bars about these songs. And his opinion is always right.
It's true.
And also for reference, his top 3, number 3 was Florida. It still is, I would assume. Number 2, But Daddy, I Love Him.
Interesting.
Number 1, Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. He gets it.
I like Jason.
I
think he's cool. Like, those aren't my top 3, but I respect that top 3.
Yeah, like I see the vision.
Absolutely. If The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived is your number 1 song, first of all, you've got power.
Second of all, who hurt you?
Yeah, exactly.
And the song debuted and peaked at number 4 on the Billboard charts.
Wow.
Oh, this tea is so good.
It's really good tea.
Really, it's banging. This song has not been performed yet. My guess is that she will perform it in London, perhaps at the last show in London. That I think would be thematically relevant.
I mean, she must.
In terms of my personal connections, I don't really have a personal connection to this as of yet. I haven't gone through a breakup since Tortured Poets came out last month, or dated anyone. But I went to London once, so it was cool. It was kind of like New York City, but everyone was British.
The thing about London is I love it there so much. It is a lot like New York City, but it's cleaner. At least where I went, maybe I just had my like London goggles on. I thought I felt such home vibes there, and I never wanted to leave. And I want to go back someday, but money.
So my overall interpretation, R.I.P. Taylor's chance at dual citizenship via marriage. She could get it anyway. She probably could get dual citizenship to like any country in the world by being like, "Hi, I'm Taylor Swift. Can I have citizenship?" And they'd be like, "Please, our queen."
Would you like
so
to
right
run for that?
For office also?
Yeah. Would you like to run the world?
Literally. And also it's like the idea that Taylor thought that if this breakup ever happened, she would have to say goodbye to Cornelia Street, but like she had to let go of the entirety of London instead because it grew into something that couldn't be contained to a street. It took up a whole city.
That shit hurted.
And also, this song is a transition from the first stage of grief, denial, to the second stage, anger. Mm-hmm. This is a very angry song.
Interesting. I don't read it that way. I read it as...
She says, I'm pissed off. It's like twice.
Okay, so that's fair. But I think what makes this track so interesting to me is that there's so much respect in the way that she's speaking about the relationship. Like, I think so. I think that this is like very respectful to the partner that she's talking about.
She's kind of calling him a depressed, boring bitch that left her behind.
But she's saying, I'll find someone, you'll find someone.
I think that, yeah, it's definitely coming from a place of like still having some love and respect, but also it is like very unflinchingly honest and like pointing out the stuff that he fucked up.
Well, it's not Dear John or All Too Well is what I'm saying.
So the intro of the song, she's just saying "So Long London," but it sounds very much like a chorus singing in a church.
Mm-hmm. Like bells chiming.
Yeah. And it very much was giving me like "I Wouldn't Marry Me Either" off the bat.
Yeah.
And also in the bridge she says like I died at the altar, and so like the connection to false god and worshiping churches, etc. I saw in my mind fairy lights through the mist. Immediately, like, fairy lights is a thing that British people say. Like, in the US, you would say string lights, or I say twinkly lights, but, like, fairy lights is how you would describe that in
Oh, really?
the
I
UK.
say fairy lights. So
But,
I guess...
Well, that's because we were on Tumblr in the One Direction fan fiction.
No!
That's why I used to say it, because I saw,
really?
like, I was on, like, Ed Sheeran and One Direction and Little Mix Tumblr, and so all the British people call them fairy lights.
I think it's because I've dated 3 Englishmen.
That will also do it. So you
I basically have citizenship, is what we're saying.
This is basically about you. Taylor Swift stealing your life again.
No.
And then also like Through the Mist, England and London are known for, London especially, I'm sure that England has different weather in some parts. But it's known for being very like rainy and misty and gray. Mm-hmm. I kept calm and carried the weight of the rift. So keep calm and carry on. It's very famously what Queen Elizabeth said during World War II London was being bombed. That's where keep calm and carry on was. And like that's kind of the British way of living is like keep calm, carry on. I'm getting so distracted by this live stream. I have to turn it off. Okay, no,
We can do it.
We can do it. Okay. But then also she's carrying the weight of the rift. So instead of talking about the fact that they're having problems in their relationship, she was just trying to carry the weight of it with her. And like the cultural norm of like suffering in silence, acting like nothing is wrong, that stems from the idea of keep calm and carry on, like permeates into personal relationships as well.
Yeah, I keep thinking of I'm a soldier who's returning half her weight.
Ooh, yeah. Pulled him in tighter each time he was drifting away. There's no such thing as bad thoughts, only actions talk. Mm-hmm. That's all I had there.
Yeah. It just shows, it's like this repeated thing that she talks about in this relationship where she really tried to keep them together.
Yes, this whole song is about her just trying so hard. I mean, the next line, my spine split from carrying us up the hill. Mm-hmm. So her spine split from carrying both of them. Like she was the one doing all of the work to sustain them, and all he was a dead weight that she was dragging along with her. But yeah, so the idea of like she's trying to carry both of them up the hill and he wasn't helping, and it broke her spine. So she literally could not carry them anymore. She couldn't move anymore. wet through my clothes, weary bones, caught the chill. So she's been out in the mist, carrying them up this hill for so long. Or she's just been putting in so much effort for so long that like she's just sweat through her clothes and she's just like soaked with sweat and rain and just is trying so hard. But she, you know, when people go out in the rain, it's like, oh, you're going to catch your death out there. So it could be either, and it could be both of the rain or the sweat. I stopped trying to make him laugh. So
That
like,
hurts.
I just thought of when you're friends with someone or in a relationship with someone who is just like hell bent on being miserable, and like you just are trying so hard to make them happy and like trying to cheer them up, and it just eventually it gets to the point where like it's too exhausting, so you stop trying to make them laugh, because every time you try to make them laugh, they're just like, I'm not in the mood to laugh. I don't want to laugh right now. Why are you joking?
I think about, like, in a lot of her songs, she talks about humor and telling jokes. Like, I was never good at telling jokes, or he thinks I'm funny, or you think I'm funny and he never did.
I'll save all your dirtiest
Jokes for me. Yeah. So there's a lot of that. Like, humor has a lot in her relationship.
So she's just saying like, also, connecting it to lover, I stopped trying to make him laugh. Like, stop trying to save their jokes for each other. Like, they just gave up on that little thing that used to be a normal part of their relationship.
Ow.
I just came up with that. That hurt.
Yeah, that shit hurted.
Stop trying to drill the safe. So when you first like meet somebody and are falling in love with them, you kind of like learn their secrets. Like in mine, you learn my secrets and you figure out why I'm guarded. But if you're with somebody who just is like a brick wall and is just not down to talk about their emotions or their past or anything, eventually it's just like you're drilling the safe. You're trying to break into some place that is so well guarded that it's like literally impossible. And it gets to the point where you're just like, I can't do this anymore.
True. But also kind of reminds me of I Can See You, just with the whole bank heist thing.
True.
It's less thematically relevant, but
Thinking, how much sad did you think I had? So she trudged through this till her back broke and she had to end things for her own well-being. Kind of like, you're losing me. My face was gray, but you wouldn't admit that we were sick. She's asking, how, like, did you really think I wasn't that upset that like I could handle being miserable like this for longer? How much longer did you think I could go on being sad when you are the source of so much of that sadness? Like, how much longer did you think I would stick this out?
Yeah. I've been thinking about that line a lot, because it's like, because also they wrote so many sad songs together.
Yeah.
If we're going to assume that this is about a specific person that
William
she wrote
Bowery.
sad songs with William Bowery, yeah. I mean, like, how much of that did you think that we had together of like continuing to write just these absolutely devastating, brutal songs?
As I remember our friend Bailey, like when Evermore came out, she was just like, they really like cosplaying divorce. When we listened to Tolerated for the first time, that was her reaction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you think I had in me? So like the other line, she's saying like, how much sad did you think I had? I already said that. Did you think I had in me? So like also this idea of when you're with somebody who's kind of like negative and has a like negative outlook on life, negative demeanor, they think of the entire world as like sad or depressing or whatever. And she's like asking, did you think that I was like that? Did you think that I eventually would just stop trying to look for the good in things? As somebody who is like aggressively optimistic, I remember like these people who I'm not friends with anymore whatsoever, but I remember one of them getting like mad at me because I was like looking for the positives in a situation that impacted me and not her. And like she was like, why are you being so positive about it? And I was like, do you want me to fucking cry? Like, how much sad did you think I had in me? I also wrote Eeyore Core. Which reminds me of the time that I was having a really bad morning and I was wearing my Eras Tour blue hoodie and I had it up over my head and I got coffee. Oh, what happened is I got my coffee and they didn't put the lid on all the way, so I spilled it in my car and it was the wrong coffee too. And so I cried about it. And then I got
Eeyore.
home and I had up my hood and I looked at myself and I go, I look like fucking Eeyore. And then I cried more. And then I made a TikTok about it.
Thank you for sharing. That's excellent.
So that's just, that's how much sad I have in me. Oh, the tragedy. I think using the word tragedy in a song with London in the title is very interesting because obviously Shakespearean tragedies are some of the best known tragedies in the world. There are others. Shakespeare didn't invent the tragedy, but he is known for them. And, you know, she references Romeo and Juliet in The Albatross and also obviously in Love Story. So I just think it's interesting that she's bringing up like the idea of a tragic love story in a song about London. Because I saw a tragedy. I saw King Lear at the Globe, and the Globe is in London where it started.
And when I was in London, I was a tragedy.
Mood.
I also think that the way she says it, she's like, oh, the tragedy.
Like it's a throwaway moment.
It is. It's almost like she's invalidating her experience, or maybe she felt like her experience was being invalidated.
Yeah, like she tried to complain or like bring up something to her partner, and he just goes, oh, the tragedy.
Yeah.
Because I hate when you're trying to like express something that's bothering you and someone's just like, oh my god, that sounds so rough, and it's like, I know you're not being serious, but it is rough. Fuck you. I spilled my iced coffee.
The wrong one.
The wrong iced coffee. So then after all that, I take a sip, and what is it? It's not blueberry. I love blueberry coffee. So long, London. So here she's using it as a salutation, saying like goodbye, so long, London. She'll use it differently later in the song, but it's also kind of like she's equating London with this person by saying so long, London. She's also saying like so long, this person that she considers London-esque.
Yeah, I know there's a couple of songs where she talks about like the city is ours, like in Holy Ground, like we've had this whole big city to ourselves, or like my Death by a Thousand Cuts, she says our country.
Yeah.
Like,
guess it was a lawless land.
Yeah, just like all of it, her partner being tied to the city or the place where they are from, where she feels like she's at home, and then she doesn't feel that way anymore, and she has to say goodbye to the entire environment, as well as their relationship.
You'll find someone. No, we're not going to turn that off because we wanted the surprise songs. So like, damn, I was really unflinching in these notes. I said, you'll find someone else to drag down, and maybe that someone will be able to make it up the hill carrying you.
Whoa.
Damn, I was mad. I think I wrote that in a meeting. What fucking meeting was I in? Damn.
That is so wild to me because this whole song, like, I don't feel the anger, like Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. I feel the anger. This song, like, yeah, she's angry, but she's not necessarily like hating of this partner. She's just like, she's just angry.
The bridge to me is hating her partner. Like,
oh,
you
that's
said
true.
I abandoned the ship, but I was ooh, new outfit. Oh, it's silver.
Oh.
Okay, Slayler
Swift. We'll get there when we get to the bridge. Taylor Slay.
But yeah, I think that like it is honest, but the honest truth is that she's mad about the way that things ended, even though she's like, she's hurt, she's upset, she's sad, she's mad, she's all the things.
Yeah.
Verse 2. I didn't opt in to be your odd man out. Like, it reminds me the book Gone Girl. When I read it, I like the concept. Obviously, the concept of being gone girled is great. Of like faking your death to fuck over your shitty husband. Love that. Mm-hmm. But like in that book, it really like annoyed me. I almost didn't finish reading it because it's just like she hated her husband so much. And like all of her other friends also hated their husbands so much. And then like vice versa, like the husbands hated their wives. And I was like, it's so exhausting to like think about spending so much time with somebody that you just straight up don't like anymore. And like this kind of reminds me of that concept of like, I didn't opt in to be your odd man out. Like I opted into this relationship, but not thinking that you would come to like resent me and like leave me at home and ignore me and leave me out of things. Like that's not why I fell in love with you.
True.
I founded the club she's heard great things about, and I hope it's shitty at the Black Dog.
Yeah.
And she's too young to know this song. That's to me the she of it all.
Mm-hmm. That's how I interpret it as well.
But also like the idea of her being pushed out of like conversations and outings and things that she started, you know, a club also is like exclusive, and so she created something that she is now being excluded from, even though she is like the founder and the origin of it.
Yeah.
I left all I knew, you left me at the house by the heath. Like, to me, that line is angry and sad, because it's like she made these major sacrifices to make this relationship work, to make their life together work, but when it came down to it, he couldn't even include her in his life.
Yeah.
And like, she left behind her entire life to be a part of his, but he just wanted, you know, quiet housewife and not an equal partner. He wanted somebody who's going to wait at home for him so that he has somebody to come home to. Which is kind of a flip around of Karma's the guy on the screen coming right home to me.
True.
I mean, I guess he is coming home to her because, I just had that realization. So like, coming straight home to me. So she's waiting at home for him to come.
Interesting.
So in Karma, it's kind of like fun. Like, yes, I'm waiting at home for my great boyfriend. And now here it's like, you left me at home so that you would have somebody to come back to.
Wait by the door like I'm just a kid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I stopped CPR. After all, it's no use. She was trying, but her partner wasn't. There's no use. But also CPR as a practice isn't necessarily meant to bring people back to life. It's meant to keep oxygen flowing to their brains so that when like actual doctors and paramedics get there and start doing actual life-saving measures, they're not brain dead. But also, as a person who is a lifeguard for like 7 years, CPR with 2 people is much more effective than CPR with 1 person, because with 1 person you get tired very quickly because it's a very physical act to be, you know, breathing into somebody else's mouth, and like the act of like pumping somebody else's heart is just like, it takes a lot of effort. So with 2 people you're switching, and like it's easier to keep CPR going for longer with 2 people.
Oh, and so she was just doing it herself.
Exactly. So even if their relationship was dying, if both of them had been trying to do CPR and bring them back to life, it could have lasted for longer.
True. Also, it reminds me of You're Losing Me.
Definitely. The spirit was gone. We would never come to. Like, the idea that at a certain point you have to call it. Like, it's just, you're not going to come back. At a certain point, you give up on life-saving measures and you state time of death.
Yeah.
And I'm pissed off you let me give you all that youth for free.
Yeah, that's angry.
This is Female Rage the musical.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how Taylor described Tortured Poets Department's set on the Eras tour. So, like, fitting. She willingly gave up years of her life, the last years of her youth, and he wasted it. He wasted her time by making empty promises about a life they could build together, and now she has to restart again because she was the only one trying to make their life work, and she eventually had to call it, and now she has to restart, you know, years later than she thought she ever would.
Yeah. Also, it makes me think of how like women do have to think about their biological clocks when you're in relationships, especially in your late 20s, early 30s. Like, if you want to think about kids specifically, then
you're on a timer.
Right. And then if you get out of a relationship when you're in your 30s, now you have to start all over, but you're behind in terms of your biological clock. It's just a whole extra thing we have to worry about. Super fun. Super fun.
Super great. Or just don't have kids. That's
or
where
that.
I'm probably going. That's how I'm combating being single in my late 20s. Man.
Oh my God. I'm about to be in my late 20s.
I'm already there. Ooh. And then also, so this verse into chorus transition, the way that she uses So Long London differently. So I let you...
Oh my God.
Shakespeare.
Spears literally like throwing herself against the wall.
She's throwing her toy against the wall of her crate. That's what she's doing.
She's gnawing at the
bars
I have
to give her. I have to give her the hard chew toys when she's in the crate, because if she rips open a soft toy and starts eating it, I don't want her to die.
I get it.
So the song, the transition from verse to chorus, it's like, I'm pissed off. You let me give you all that youth for free for so long, London.
Mm-hmm.
So this time she's not using it as like a salutation, as a goodbye. She's using it as like a measure of time. Like, I gave you all my youth for free for so long, London.
I remember when that line hit, when we were listening to it, you were like, oh my God, like that really got you.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
We'll have to put in some clips of us listening to these songs for the first time.
Oh God.
Stitches undone. He unhealed her wounds. An invisible string. It's like, you put blankets over my barbed wire. Mm-hmm. Just like he was softening everything, and now he's stitches undone. So she's unhealed. this relationship ending has brought up terrible things for her.
It also reminds me of something someone sent us on Instagram. I'm pretty sure it was our bestie Sarah. Okay, it was our bestie Sarah from Australia. All right, so Sarah,
Australian Sarah,
Sarah, we
the
love
only
you.
Australian Sarah.
There's only one. Sent us a message about the song "Down Bad," and when she says "Down Bad, waking up in blood," it's because she fell and all of her stitches came undone. Slay.
That's so wow.
Right?
Wow.
Thank you, Sarah.
2 graves, 1 gun.
Big Ow.
Murder suicide. So both of them are dying, but it's not like they killed each other. It's one of them kind of, to a degree, she's like blaming herself for this because she's the one who's ending this relationship with, so she's killing him and herself by ending this relationship. Or you could say that he's doing it by not trying to put effort into the relationship and trying to fix things. He's the one with the gun. But either way, it's one of them killed both of them. It's not a mutual.
That's not how I pictured it. I always pictured it like the same gun, as in this breakup killed the both of them.
Oh, like an outside source killed them?
Yeah, but the outside source just being like this breakup, this relationship.
Oh, that's so interesting. My brain has always gone with at least one of them. It's suicide.
That is interesting.
And the end of this chorus is I'll find someone. So the last one, she put him first still, even during this breakup. First, she was reassuring him, saying, you'll find someone. And now she's reassuring herself, saying, I'll find someone. And saying, like, if they weren't the right fit together, that doesn't mean that she's never going to find somebody. Like, she's had that realization.
There'll be happiness after you. There's happiness because of you.
Yeah. I think I do reference that somewhere else. Now we get the bridge.
Boy.
So we're gonna turn her off. 'Cause then I'll stop.
No more
distracted.
gay Cocomelon?
No more gay Cocomelon, because I don't know if you keep noticing me stopping at the end of every sentence to look at what's going on.
It's Tay Melon.
It's Tay Melon. So, and you say, I abandoned the ship. Even after everything that she described throughout the song of her carrying them up the hill, her back breaking, weary bones caught the chill. You left me in the house by the heath. You let me give you all my youth for free. He's still thinking that her leaving is a betrayal, even though she put in all this effort and all this time and all of this just love into this relationship. And when she's finally calling it, he's comparing her to a captain abandoning the ship.
Yeah. But I was going down with it.
Exactly. So he's acting like this is a betrayal when, like, he betrayed her by not trying to keep the relationship alive.
Mm-hmm. I think that's my favorite line from this song.
Yeah. But I was going down with it. She was going down with the ship. She was willing to die for this love, but then she realized that he wasn't being brave and being like, keep calm and carry on. He genuinely didn't see how much she was suffering. And it's one thing to both soldier through something together, knowing that the other one is also experiencing it, but to realize that this relationship is only causing you to suffer is something you can't really come back from.
Yeah.
My face was gray, but you wouldn't admit that we were sick. So to him, because he's been denying that there's issues for so long, all that he sees is she's suddenly leaving. My white knuckle dying grip. So again, she was dying, putting all of her strength into holding on, not saving herself. The only thing she had close enough to grasp for was his quiet resentment. She can't hold on to their love, their good times, anything positive at all, because all he'll give her to hold on to is his resentment.
Hold on to the memory, they'll hold on to you, and I will hold on to you.
And she tried, but then suddenly he was gone. All there was resentment left.
Meh.
And she loves him so much that she took the resentment until she couldn't anymore, until she had her white knuckle dying grip, and she just had to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend said, so this is where I kind of reference happiness of, like, when I'm above the trees, I see it for what it is. But when you're in the relationship, you a lot of times can't see the forest through the trees. And it takes your friends being like, hey, that's that's maybe not a behavior that you should accept for yourself. Sometimes it takes that to snap you out of it, to be like, you're right, I don't know why I'm like putting up with this. I would not let anybody else do this to me. And it reminds me of the Sex and the City movie. Samantha has the realization that she needs to break up with her boyfriend that she lives with in California because she's at some birthday party or something in New York, and like she flies back in to see her friends, and Charlotte, who's like in a happy marriage and like has a little baby and she's pregnant, and like Samantha asks her like, well, how often are you happy in your relationship? Like, how often does being in this relationship that you're in, like, how often are you really happy? And she goes, every day. Like, every day, you know, there's challenges, there's hard days, but every day, like, I am happy at some point, and I choose to, like, stay in this relationship because I love him and it makes me happy. And, like, Samantha has the realization that, like, she has to break up with her boyfriend because she's miserable.
Wow.
Actually, Samantha would be bop into this song. This song is very Samantha and her boyfriend out in California coded.
So long, Cali.
Exactly. Her moving back to New York. So my friend said, it isn't right to be scared every day of a love affair. And her friends are right, because if you were like scared every day about how your partner is going to act and how you're going to like what you're going to have to react to, that's not normal. Like, you shouldn't be fearing the state of your relationship every day, especially if you have a partner who like is not trying to actively work on it with you. If you're having problems, like it's a two-person relationship. One person cannot put in all the effort to fix a relationship if the other person is not also helping.
Right.
Every breath feels like rarest air when you're not sure if he wants to be there. In Breathe off of Fearless featuring Colby Clay. And I can't breathe without you, but I have to. So, because she's afraid that he'll want to leave and that he could call at any moment, because she's suppressing all these negative emotions and not telling him about it and not openly expressing it. So she's thinking that he is doing the same thing. And so she's wondering when he's going to, if he'll be the one to pull the trigger first, if he'll be the one that's dug the graves and he's holding the gun. And so when she ended things thinking that he was feeling the same way, she realized he wasn't feeling that way, but she didn't know because they hadn't talked about it. They weren't addressing the elephant in the room. And then back into the chorus, and it's the same as the first chorus, where it's how much sad did you think I had in me, how much tragedy. Just how low did you think I'd go before I'd self-implode? It's like, and so she's just left there, she's questioning. This is where I think some of like the anger comes from, because like these questions are so like pointed, of like, there's no correct way to answer this question if you're in this situation and you're having this fight. Like, how low did you think I'd go before I'd self-implode? Like, that idea of how much more do you think that I could suffer?
Well,
like,
because they're both tortured poets.
Yeah.
So like they're both like, that's their thing, is they're always sad.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm tired of that, actually.
And like, it's also the idea of her questioning, like, was he waiting for her to self-implode? Was he trying to see how much she could take? Was he writing a book? Was he a sleeper cell spy? In 50 years, will all this be declassified? That's what I want, is a So Long London into Smallest Man Who Ever Lived transition.
Ooh.
That's really the denial into acceptance transition right there. Or
Yeah.
not denial into anger, I meant.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Before I'd have to go be free. Have to go be free. She doesn't want this freedom. If she thought that there was a chance that this toxic, twisted, miserable relationship could be good again, if she thought that he'd be willing to try, that he would work with her, and if he would just acknowledge her pain and she could see that there was a chance that they could work on it, she would have stayed. But she couldn't do it anymore. She was chained down, and like she didn't feel free. She felt trapped. So, and by she, I mean the narrator. I'm like putting a lot of emotions onto this song, and I don't know that Taylor Swift has experienced these exact things.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
We project here on this podcast.
Disclaimer, she is me.
Yes.
Just like me for real.
We just talk as if we wrote these songs. As if we could, but you know.
And then we have verse 3. So there's like, the structure of the song is so weird. It's verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, bridge, chorus, verse 3, chorus.
It just keeps going.
It just keeps going. So verse 3. There's this TikTok that I saw from this person on TikTok, obviously, Jas Tay's version, and she pointed out some of the song parallels in this that I missed, and I'll kind of like say them throughout, but I wanted to make sure I credited it up top because a couple of them I did get from her. You swore that you loved me, but where were the clues? From Jas, an invisible string. Were there clues I didn't see? And now they're perhaps he's trying to say, like, oh, you said you love, like, I love you so much. It's like, how was I supposed to know that?
Right.
Only your actions talk from guilty as sin. So if you keep it all in your head, it doesn't matter. And I feel like a running theme throughout Tortured Poets is a difference between what you say and what you actually do.
Yeah.
And so I think this kind of is delving into that idea of like, you saying that you love me is not enough to prove it. Like there comes a point where you have to act like you love someone. You can't just say it. I died on the altar waiting for the proof. We might just get away with it. The altar is my hips. Even if it's a false god, we'd still worship this love. But it was a false god. And she did everything she was meant to. She sacrificed and she begged and she prayed and she left her entire being on the altar, but she was never taken away because there was no actual God to be sacrificed to.
Right.
And you sacrificed us to the gods of your bluest days. So instead of sacrificing her to their false god of their relationship and their love, she got sacrificed to the bluest days.
There's that blue again.
The blue again. So what
Turn
Jas
up the
pointed
blue.
out was Coney Island, did I paint your bluest skies the darkest gray? Which also is mirrored in Dear John, paint me a blue sky, then go back and turned it to gray. And in Lover, my heart's been borrowed and yours has been blue. So it's like she's being sacrificed to his heart, but his heart is just the bluest days. Derogatory. And I'm just getting color back into my face. My face was gray, but you wouldn't admit that we were sick from You're Losing Me. Again, that line is just all over this song.
Yeah.
She admitted that she was sick so that she could get better. And it's like they were playing a game of chicken of who was going to leave first and who was going to actually like die and suffer so much that they would, die for their love. But Taylor called it before it could get to that point.
Right.
I'm just mad as hell because I loved this place. And she's kind of acknowledging. Did I say acknowledging right? I don't know why anyways, once again, she's acknowledging where she is in the grieving process. She's angry. She lost something that she loved dearly, that she tried to deny was dying, and now she's being mad about it, which mood.
Yeah.
And this is another time where she's transitioning from the verse to the chorus. So I'm mad as hell because I love this place for so long, London. So like she's mad because she loved this place for so long and she was so invested in this and it didn't matter in the end because it still ended. And it's not that, everything that happened during the relationship didn't matter, but it didn't matter enough to keep them together. I had to yawn in the middle.
Yeah, I love how you just consistently do that and then just carry on.
Do you want me to do the line again?
Nope, it's too late.
I can do the line again. If I could remember what the line is.
It's just the yawn's going to be in it.
That's fine. I'm a sleepy girl. What can I say? And then I think the tone of the final chorus kind of shifts into this acceptance of like the death of their relationship. And like finally seeing it for what it is. She's finally far enough away that she is able to have this funeral for their relationship. Maybe that's why it sounds like it's in a church, because it's a funeral.
Instead of a wedding.
Instead of a wedding, they got a funeral. And this chorus has a couple of different lines. A moment of warm sun. So in the end, she looks back and she realizes that this is what their relationship was. It was a moment of warmth, a spot of sun amongst the misty, rainy weather of London. It wasn't a sunny day, a heat wave, or a tropical location where it was sunny all the time. It was just a moment. It was legendary. It was momentary from Lommel. But I'm not the one. Just because it was good doesn't mean it was right. And it wasn't right to be scared every day of a love affair. that's how she felt in the end. It wasn't right. She isn't the one. Because if she was the one, she wouldn't be having these feelings.
But we were something, don't you think so? Would have been fun.
R.I.P. the one. 2023 to 2024.
Oh my gosh.
And then the final line of the song, you'll find someone. Just, she finishes pouring her heart out. She's still trying to soften the blow of this breakup. She's angry, she's heartbroken, she's grieving, but she still knows that at one time this was something good and they were at one point in love. She was happy, but she's not anymore. But she still is softening the blow by saying, like, you'll find someone.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the one. Which is interesting because she says you'll find someone twice and she only says I'll find someone once. So I think a lot of this song is her expressing this directly to the other person.
Yeah.
My discussion question, is there any place that you felt like you had to let go of after a breakup, like a bar or like a coffee shop or just like a general location where you're like, I'm not going to go there anymore because that was our thing and now it's just reminds me of that person?
Yeah. Yeah, I think to an extent I feel that way about different places depending on the relationship. Like there is a whole town that I just feel weird driving through because that's where I had my longest relationship ever. Mostly happened in this town. That's where they lived. That's where I was a lot of the time. So I don't like driving through there. So I definitely relate to that idea. What about you?
I don't know. 'Cause it's been a while. Last time I had a breakup, COVID hit like a month later. But I don't know. I think that, like, to some extent, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's relatable.
It is.
It's a really weird feeling when relationships end.
Yeah.
How did it end?
I think that might actually be the least fitting flourish.
Really? Think so?
I think that one is the least fitting ever.
Yeah, it's not very fitting.
There's no flourish in this song. It's just pain.
True. This song is pain. This is the first song that made me cry listening to the album. Surprisingly, I got this far.
That is surprising. I didn't make it past, I think Lommel was the first song that made me cry. So
I'm pretty sure.
I made it 9 tracks.
Yeah, I don't cry listening to music very often.
Cannot really.
This one hit. It's the 21st track from the Anthology edition of Tortured Poets Department, released on April 19th, 2024. It was supposed to be fun turning 21. This song is not fun.
Yeah, no. Oof.
And this part of the album was released at 2 a.m. As we all know, it just happened for those who are listening to this as it comes out.
But if you're listening to this in the future, TBT.
Remember when? It's the
when
second.
I pulled up and said there's 16 more songs.
And then I canceled my plans and drank tequila.
It's the remix.
So anyway. And it's the second half's track 5. I remember specifically in the video, I haven't watched the video, but I know that...
Do you want me to send it to you? I keep forgetting to do that.
Yeah, sure. I know that I just, at one point, I started crying and I just started going, no, Taylor! No!
Should we find it? Should we find that right now?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the bridge.
How did it end? We've got to no. The fucking first lines are the no.
It works.
Into this. Oh, I'm not good. I had too much tequila for this. Do you want tissue?
Okay. You guys get the gist. You guys get the
Timestamp on this
gist.
video is 2:21 a.m.
21 for the 21st track.
And we had Easter egg.
That's so funny. That is so funny. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Just me going, I've had too much tequila.
I think we'll just post that, I think just unedited, the entire video is going to go on our TikTok.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so that. This is a Taylor and Aaron Dessner song. That tracks.
So is mine. Oh, wait, both track 5s are Taylor and Aaron.
Oh, good for them.
Slay.
We got Taryn and Swiftanov. You're tearing up my heart. That's what these songs said. All right.
Yeah, tearing up my heart for sure.
This song has never been performed yet. It could be a surprise song by the time this drops.
It could be.
Could be.
Yeah, it could be.
It could be.
We got shows left.
Who's to say?
Not us.
This song was added to Taylor's Old Habits Die Screaming in parentheses Depression playlist. Fun fact. Old Habits Die Screaming Depression is what they called me in college. Thank you.
I was trying to do the other noise, but the
It's
clapping
fine.
is fitting.
I wrote that and I said, that's a winner.
That's a banger. It's a banger of a bit.
This song comes right after, I believe, Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus. Yes, it does. 'Cause
Or
I bring
as
that up
people are
later.
calling it Chloe et al.
Chloe et al. Chloe and OOMFS is another one I've seen, which I always just say oomphs or like, ooh, motherfucker is how I say it in my head, but I know that's not right.
Ooh, motherfucker. I like the beat that you had. The cadence of it was, ooh, motherfucker. Like, it really worked.
Thank you.
Also, you said fuck.
I know.
Slay.
Thank you. That's my morally morally okay
correct.
one.
Fuck.
Yeah. So Genius had a couple of brutal bars about this. They said, "How Did It End" sends a clear message. No one cares about you in the breakup, only about the breakup. It's a heart-wrenching warning that even at your worst moments, you can still be used for clicks. Like, yeah, that's the point of the song. Who wrote this? Who did this?
Who wrote this? Who wrote I want to watch the world burn for real. Jesus, Genius.
Second week in a row we've mentioned that song. Valid. Okay.
As we should.
So the intro happens. It's this little piano moment, like a 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 moment.
A waltz.
It's in 4/4 time.
It is?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I was looking into it. Yeah, it's in 4/4 time. And it reminded me a lot of the song "Someone Like You" by Adele in the way that it is played, but which would have been a good hint song, but I didn't choose that hint song. I didn't think of it.
Fair enough.
And then she has these haunting little vocals that I cried over.
No.
I cried over everything. No. Well, okay, but Chloe or Sam and Sophia or Marcus had just happened, and that's a brutal one.
And I think also we pulled up the lyrics and saw the first line was, I hereby conduct this
This
postmortem.
postmortem.
And you were just like, I can't do this.
I was like, no, not today.
And then we did it anyways.
We did. So the lyrics wrote this as uh-oh, which I thought was interesting. Because it's like this innocent little uh-oh. Like, it's even hard to comprehend how painful this was.
I was going to fact check, but this doesn't have that song on it.
Uh-oh.
It's just a regular.
But then also, uh-oh, I'm falling in love from Labyrinth. So anyway.
No.
Wrong vibe. Yeah. There we go.
I got there in the end.
You know what? All the emotions are present.
We're in all 5 stages, baby.
We sure are. We're in depression right now.
Yeah.
Depression, finals week. For me.
Depression,
So.
general life for me.
Oh, yeah. So Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus, I was watching Reacts by Ashley Ippolito. I love you so much. And
Come on the pod.
Come on the pod. And she listened to Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus and was basically like, oh, that's the death of the relationship. And then this one started and she was like, this is the postmortem, which is how it starts, which, is like literally it. And this first line, we hereby conduct this postmortem. Like, so we're talking about an autopsy.
But also like the autopsy, but also like that's when you start a recording, because I'm thinking of like we recently watched the autopsy of
I
Jane
have
Doe.
that in my notes.
And like when you start a recording and then you do like recorded notes. So it's like she knows that this is public.
Yes. I write a little bit later in this about how this whole song is kind of, it sounds very formal, except for the bridge. So she's very much trying to make sure she's not taking out of context. She's speaking very factually and very like formally.
Yeah, 'cause she's like, here are the facts of what happened, because what people want is the emotion, and she doesn't want to give them that.
Right. But also the purpose of, let me cough first.
Yeah, I know. I've been like, you really got to clear your throat, buddy.
Thank you. Also, the purpose of a postmortem, of an autopsy, is to find the cause of death, which is interesting because the song is called How Does It End? Like the whole point of the song is, what was the cause of death? It's so brilliant.
It's so good.
It's very good.
This is a lay on the ground song.
It absolutely is. I also like to think that it's not only the death of the relationship, but also the death of her. Like,
and at least a version of her.
Yeah.
There's a version of her that she'll never try to be my old self again, but I'm still trying to find it.
Exactly. Ow. This opening line was also the answer to the Apple Music word hunt leading up to the album release.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The next line. He was a hothouse flower to my outdoorsman.
So good.
So a hothouse flower is typically a flower that has been sheltered and therefore like more fragile and vulnerable. So she's calling him like sheltered and fragile and vulnerable, while she's an outdoorsman. She's been exposed to the elements. She can handle more.
And I also saw a TikTok about like how if you're an outdoorsman, you would feel trapped in a hothouse, but like you can't leave it because he would not survive leaving the hothouse.
Fresh out the slammer.
Yes.
Wow.
I know who my first call would be to. I actually don't. I can't think about it, but we're not going to go into that.
So this line could be one potential cause of death. Like he was a hothouse flower and I was an outdoorsman. It was never going to work. Another potential cause of death is the next line. Our maladies were such we could not cure them. They had incurable illnesses.
Irreconcilable differences is one of the things you can list as a reason for divorce.
Right. Yeah. I also make a lot of references to You're Losing Me here because
you should.
Same line. My face was gray, but you wouldn't admit that we were sick. We thought a cure would come through in time. Now I fear it won't. All of that. And like with Taylor trying to do CPR, we already just talked about this, but these two songs really go hand in hand with You're Losing Me. And so a touch that was my birthright became foreign. I love this line a lot. A birthright is a privilege. It's something that you're born with, that you're entitled to, that you're meant to have. And so, for the love of God.
Do you want me to get you some water?
No. I just laughed too hard.
have another thought that's not serious. In 50 Ways to Say Goodbye by Train.
Oh my Lanta.
Where he's listing all the reasons that his girlfriend died, or all the ways that she died, instead of just being like, yeah, we broke up. He was like, actually, she died in an airplane crash. So stop bringing it up.
These two songs are sister songs.
Like, I was thinking how that should have been your hint song.
It should have been. That would have just thrown you off your rhythm.
She went down in a jet plane.
That song is
Fried,
wild.
getting suntanned.
Wild song.
Sorry,
all right.
Back to the sad.
Back to the sad.
Back
How much
to
sad did
the
you think
sadder.
I had? So anyway, a touch that was her birthright, something that always felt like home to her, that felt like something she was meant to have, that she'd have forever, that she'd had her whole life, now feels foreign. Like, so long London. It's not her home anymore. There's so many parallels to different songs where you just see how she had this feeling that this would be forever, and now it's not. Mm-hmm. And how jarring that is. And then we get into the chorus. And what I love about the chorus is that these verses really capture like these very formal sentences, how you would say like in an autopsy, for example. Mm-hmm. And then the chorus is focused on like what other people see or how she perceives their support. So she says, come one, come all, it's happening again. It's like the town crier.
But also, like, are you going to go into like the connotation of like another Taylor Swift breakup?
No, you can talk about that now.
So like the idea that like Taylor Swift is known for like, oh my God, Taylor Swift dates guys and then she breaks up with them and then she writes songs about it. But like people love her breakup songs. So she's like, come on, come all, like it's happening again. I mean, I'm guilty of this too, but like the number of people that before Torture Poets came out that were like, oh my God, I'm so excited for this breakup album. And like how awful that must feel as Taylor to be like, oh, you guys are so excited to hear about how my heart got ripped out of my chest. That's so cool and normal of you.
Yeah, and that is part of the point of the song and of the chorus. Come One, Come All, It's Happening Again was actually teased at the Spotify pop-up library installation at the Grove in Los Angeles. So like, I feel like this is really a core theme of the album for her and like a message that she wanted out from the album. Because in this album as a whole, she calls out her fans quite a bit.
Yeah, she definitely does.
Which is something we should continue to examine.
Yes.
As fans. The empathetic hunger descends. Like she feels these people like as if they care, but really they're just hungry for more information.
Yeah.
And that line is so lyrically brilliant, the way that she put that sentence together.
Yeah.
We'll tell no one except all of our friends. So that's these people that are just like, your secret's safe with me. You can tell me all these things. And then they go and tell their besties later.
Yeah, and their best friend isn't bound by the same secretness.
So then the news just spreads. But what was interesting when I first heard this, chorus, I thought that all of this was Taylor's point of view. So she's saying like, come on, it's happening again. And then she's like, she sees everyone coming. And then she's like, we won't tell anyone except all of our friends. And maybe she considers us her friends, or maybe she's talking about how her and her partner are just going to tell their friends, but it still escapes anyway.
Yeah.
Or it could be on the flip side of things. It could be a fan being like, everyone, come over. It's happening again.
It makes me think of when she went out to dinner after the breakup had been publicly announced. She went out to dinner with Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, and both of them unfollowed her ex. And it was like headline news that they unfollowed her ex-boyfriend.
Right. Yes.
On Instagram, no less.
Yeah. We must know, how did it end? And so in this chorus, that question is aimed at like the people who want to know what happened. So they're asking, how did it end?
We must know.
We must know.
No, you fucking don't.
Yeah, like you are not entitled to any information.
Yeah, it's crazy. She's crazy.
I know. We get into the second verse. We were blind to unforeseen circumstances. Maybe it's my blind optimism to blame. Sorry about that one. Sorry. But once again, this is kind of like, who's at fault here? She loves doing the maybe thing we've talked about a lot. Like maybe it's you, maybe it's me, maybe it's us. Mm-hmm. But this is like, she literally doesn't know what the problem was, how it ended. And that's what makes her so crazy about it.
She doesn't know because it was death by 1,000 cuts. And how do you know which cut was the killing blow if there's 1,000 of them?
I just got chills. I got them chills.
Are they multiplying? Are you losing control?
Don't bring Grease into this.
Oh, I'm bringing Grease into it.
We learn the right steps to different dances.
That line is just so good.
It means so. I could write an essay on this line. I kind of did, but I won't share the whole essay. But in LOML, there's the dancing phantoms on the terrace line, and also dancing with our hands tied. Like she talks about dancing with her partners a lot. I don't want to dance if I'm not dancing with you. So many dance songs. So Genius pointed out that now if you look at all these songs in a row, it makes it seem like now they've stopped dancing for their love, but just for the sake of habit. And then it reminded me of that Maya Hawke interview that I literally talk about all the time, where they asked what her best advice she's ever gotten was, and she said, don't let habit be your only choice. I think about that a lot. That Hawke family, man.
The Hawks.
They come in, they're swooping in like Hawks.
They exist in the TSSU.
And they, true, TSSU.
Canon.
It
is now canon.
It is canon. Maya Hawke, come on the pod. So anyway.
Ethan Hawke also come on the pod.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh, everyone's welcome. Come one, come all. Anyway.
It's Hawknin again.
It's Hawknin again. Now they're not going to come on anymore.
You know what? Fuck it.
They said, ooh. All right.
I said, I don't know if I can handle that shitty of a pun.
Most people can't, honestly. So they have the right steps just in different dances. They're confidently doing all the things that they know that they want to do. It's just that they don't align anymore. It's not the same dance anymore.
And like they're so out of sync that they didn't even realize that the other one wasn't learning the same dance until they got on the floor.
Right. Yeah. And fell victim to interlopers' glances. So an interloper is someone who gets involved in the place they don't belong. And so basically it's like they have this pressure of constant speculation.
Yeah.
Lost the game of chance. What are the chances? It's, again, that thing where the same word is used in the same sentence in two different ways, like devils roll the dice, angels roll their eyes. Also, there's a parallel to the song Daylight, luck of the draw only draws the unlucky. Mm. And then this lyric was also teased on Spotify on April 17th.
She really was teasing this song a lot.
Yeah. Oh, this next line. Soon they'll go home to their husbands, smug because they know they can trust him, then feverishly calling their cousins. That line hurts me on a deep level. Because, like, people basically hear how devastated they are, that Taylor is. Then they go home to their very loving husband that they can trust. And they're just like, wow, I'm so glad that I'm not her.
Yeah, like, there's nothing, like, sometimes, I was talking to another single friend about, like, when you're talking to somebody that's in a relationship about like an issue, like a relationship issue or breakup that you're going through, and they're just like, oh my God, that sucks so much. So about my happy relationship. And it's like that, read the room.
Right.
This hasn't happened to me recently, but like,
yeah.
Ugh.
Well, a couple things I pointed out. Taylor talks a lot about trust, like in Death by a Thousand Cuts, my time, my wine, my spirit, my trust. Trust is a huge thing for her. And then in So Long London, my friend said it isn't right to be scared every day of a love affair, which we just talked about. So it's like she knows this isn't right, but it's also like all she has and all she's ever known. Mm-hmm. And so then her friends go home and they're just like, well, I have something better.
Yeah. And also like they're also calling their cousin. So like, you know, we'll tell no one except all of our friends.
Right. Like we moved from friends to like cousins. I don't know. I mean, some people are really close with their cousins. Personally, I'm not.
I am.
So I don't know. Cousins to me feels less. Maybe that's just a me thing.
No, but I get what you mean, because cousins aren't like a friend. You would think that there's immediately like a level of closeness. Cousins could be distant or close. So they're calling their cousins. They're calling everybody that they can think of to tell, I got the hot goss. I found out why Taylor Swift broke up with her boyfriend. Like,
right, exactly.
Now I'm going to tell everybody I know.
Which is what this next chorus does. The Genius sort of connected this to Champagne Problems with how the town reacted to the news of calling things off, but also those people in Champagne Problems are a lot more mean about it, like directly. But guess who we ran into at the shops, walking in circles like she was lost. Like this is how they're talking to their cousins, for example. The shops being so British, but
again with the British of it all.
The British of it all, and they're just gossiping about it, and this image is so sad of just her wandering aimlessly.
Because she's like, I gotta find the pickles, but he always got the pickles when we went shopping, so I don't even know where they are.
Yeah, and like they're almost looking at it like it's such a pathetic thing, as if we haven't all been there.
Yeah, and like it is pathetic, but like you're not supposed to be like, oh my God, it was so pathetic. Like that's a dick move.
Yeah.
You help the person. You say the pickles are on aisle 3.
Exactly.
You don't call your cousin and go, look at this bitch who can't find the pickles.
No, for real.
So I just realized I picked a very phallic food. That was not on purpose.
No, we just like pickles.
I was just thinking about how I need to buy pickles.
I get it. I also wrote, this is how I feel at the grocery store, just normally because I'm really bad at grocery shopping and also I have ADHD.
That's so real. I went to the entirely wrong side of the store the other day when I was trying to find toilet paper. I passed by the toilet paper like twice on the way to find.
Why do they make grocery stores? They make grocery stores hard on purpose so that
you'll have to wander and you impulse buy.
Exactly. Yeah. Didn't you hear they called it all off? It could imply an engagement that happened, or it could just be like they called off the future that they could have had together.
Yeah.
One gasp, and then how did it end? Like they take one moment to have a reaction like, and then all they want, that empathetic hunger. They just want to know what happened. It's not, is she okay?
Yeah.
It's, tell me more.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, what happened? Like, yeah.
Yeah. And then we get into the bridge, ladies and gents. So, as I mentioned, the verses have been very controlled, and this bridge is not really controlled, nor is it formal. She just lets it all out here. So, say it once again with feeling. That's where my hint song came from the musical episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Once More with Feeling. But that's usually a term used in showbiz. Like, do it one more time and say it like you really mean it.
Yeah, and like, because we talked about this with Megan Collins last week, that idea of like, she's already said a million times in different songs, but it's like this idea that she's already said a million times over how this relationship has ended, but she didn't say it directly enough, so she has to say it once again with feeling. Like, say it, be more upset about it, be more heartbroken, be more of what I think you should be like.
And boy, does she.
She says it once more with feeling.
She says, how the death rattle breathing, silenced as the soul was leaving. So first of all, death rattle breathing is actually a very horrific thing that happens when someone is dying. It's like this really, I can't think of a word other than harrowing. Yeah. It's a really hard sound to hear. And that's the last thing that happens before you go, basically. It's really sad. And when it's silencing as the soul is leaving, like she's saying in the most descriptive and upsetting way possible, here's how I'm going to tell you then. This died. It was horrible.
Yeah, and like I watched the death rattle breathing. Like I watched the silence after something dies is like the most silent silence ever.
Yeah. The deflation of our dreaming. So the word deflation could be the deflating of the lungs, which happens after death. And their dreams also deflating at the same time, all these plans that they had together now just sort of evaporating, being breathed out with the soul.
And it reminds me of how some people said that the 2-hour drop for the anthology was because it takes 2 hours for rigor mortis to
interesting.
Rigor mortis. I know it's spelled OR, and that's what's in my head, and that's why I keep saying it wrong. But it takes 2 hours for rigor mortis to set in after someone dies, which is when you like lock up and can't, like, everything just locks up in whatever position the body's in, and it's going to stay like that.
That's interesting. I also have the a connection to the black dog with the magic or tragic fabric of our dreaming. Leaving me bereft and reeling. Just these really intense words to describe how she's doing right now, which is not well. Like bereft, she's grieving, she's inconsolable, reeling, she's unstable, she's like, I mean, she cannot be more explicit than this.
Yeah.
Whew. My beloved ghost and me. This is where my dress comes in finally. Sitting in a tree. DYING. First of all, in love with my Lommel, LOML. You low down boy, you standoff guy, you holy ghost. So she has compared this partner to a ghost before. It seems to represent her with her ex, but it could also be her with the ghost of herself in the tree. I don't know. It could be either. That works more for me because I'm dressed as a ghost.
Fair enough.
Also, it's kind of giving Haunting of Hill House vibes.
It is.
As is my dress.
I made a joke before the episode started. I was like, Abby, you're just going to sit there with your head at like an angle the whole time, like bent neck lady, because ghost dress.
And I'm gonna mention Haunting of Hill House and Mike Flanagan anytime I can.
Mike Flanagan, come on the pod.
Now, sitting in a tree, DYANG, is related to the children's rhyme. You know, Cat and Abby sitting in a tree. We could not have used two worse names. Kat and I are so incredibly platonic.
Platonic.
So platonic. Okay, who's a couple that we love?
Kat and Renee.
Kat and Renee sitting in a tree. KISSING. Like
Abby
it's
and
really
Maya.
me and Maya.
So, but yeah, usually it's a couple that's kissing.
And you do it when you're like, you're a kid. It's just this happy, cute little thing that you do.
Also, like, you use it to like tease people. You're like, oh, you have a crush on them? Me.
Exactly.
Oh, you sitting in a tree.
But
it's kind of like a bratty thing to say.
It is, and here's where it's about to hurt, because I didn't even think about this. How does the rest of the nursery rhyme go, Kat? First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes a baby in the carriage. So she's cut it off before the love or the marriage. Exactly.
Or the baby.
She cuts off the nursery rhyme saying, instead of kissing in the tree, we are DYING. Holy shit.
2 graves, 1 gun.
Wow, that hurts. Wow.
Ouch.
And this pre-chorus where she just goes, it's happening again. And she doesn't even say, come on, come on. Like this time she's talking to herself and she's saying it's happening again. Like she can't believe she's going through this heartbreak a second time. That really gets me. How did it end?
The way that she says that, how did it end, is so painful.
Because she doesn't know.
Yeah.
Like she's trying
it's
to.
Like her voice is shaking and she's just like.
She's trying to explain how it feels, but she doesn't know how. Like people want to know how it ended.
And she's like, I don't know yet. I cannot figure it out either.
Yeah.
If you figure it out, let me know.
Yeah. And she's like, I can't pretend like I understand. I still don't know how did it end. Like, even after writing all of these songs, even after all of these people trying to get information out of her, she's like, I don't know.
I also think, like, because she's like, oh, say it once again with feeling. And then she does say it once again with feeling. But there's still... people are still asking her, even though she did exactly what they wanted. She poured her heart out. They're still going to ask for more from her. The crowd was chanting more.
Exactly. It's brutal. It's brutal. Exactly. The discussion question. I actually think this discussion question is kind of interesting, and it's pretty serious. But like, do you think that this breakup would have been easier for her if she wasn't in the public eye, or was it just meant to be completely soul-crushingly devastating either way?
I think it still would have been devastating without the public parts of it, but I think that the public need for knowledge and like the way that people feel like they deserve to know how things ended, I think that definitely made it more painful, because it's like not like a lot of times when you go through a breakup, you'll do stuff like you'll go out and like go do fun things to distract yourself, and it's like, well, she can't do that. It's the only thing that she can do to avoid people asking about it is sit at home where she's, remember looking at this room, we liked it because of the light.
Yeah.
Now I just sit in the dark and wonder if it's time. Like, even their home reminds her of the way that things ended. So there's nowhere that she could go without being reminded in some way.
I can go anywhere I want.
Just
anywhere I want, just not home. Yeah, I think it's a really complicated issue because this sort of thing is going to feel absolutely devastating. I don't think there's anything more painful that I've experienced in my life other than like getting your heart broken is like genuinely, it feels like a death.
And especially if you're the one who ends it, because you know that there's no other way, there's not a way through it. Like, that is so painful, because then there's also this degree of like, am I allowed to cry?
Yeah,
like, am I allowed to be upset about this if I'm the one who ended it?
Yeah.
The answer is yes, you are.
Yes, it is so upsetting.
We give you permission.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. But I think having this tour, when she says like, I'm literally depressed, I'm obsessed with him, he's avoiding me, and I can do it with a broken heart, but she's still doing it, and people are chanting for more, they're cheering for her, they know all her words, like, we're all supporting her. So I wonder if that does kind of help a little bit. It does hurt.
Yeah.
But like most people, when we go through breakups, we don't have support on such a wide level.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to think about. I couldn't even imagine. I can't fathom how Taylor Swift's life is and feels.
Yeah.
Even with I have her diary just like it on Spotify at all times, but I still can't. I haven't lived it, you know. Like, I don't know.
Who knows? Not us.
That's that.
So our hint songs for next week. My hint song is "My Kink Is Karma" by Chappell Roan.
Amazing song. My hint song is "American Idiot" by Green Day.
Banger.
And those are the 2 track 5s from the Tortured Poets Department.
That's all, folks. We survived that.
Wow.
We didn't even cry.
Even though we're allowed.
We are allowed.
I did cry in that video though, which is it's funny. Yeah.
I feel like we're just gonna go watch that video now.
Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, this was so much fun. Make sure that wherever you are listening, rate us 5 stars. If you aren't going to rate us 5 stars, go home. If you made it this far in the episode, if you're hate listening, I feel like you need to do some inner work.
No, but it's kind of impressive if you hate listen. I'll take it.
So you should still give us 5 stars, but then write, if you're on Apple, you can write a little message and you can say 5 stars, but I hated it.
And make sure it's funny.
Make sure it's funny.
Yeah.
Make sure it's a bit. If you do leave a like review comment on Apple, we will always like screenshot it and send it back and forth and be like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah.
Same with DMs and comments on TikTok and Instagram at SwiftLorePod.
Yeah. We respond to every DM that we get on Instagram. So if you send one, we're going to respond.
Definitely.
We've been really active on Instagram at SwiftLorePod because of the tour changes and stuff.
So definitely check us out there because we've got lots of good content on our stories and our highlight reels. And then the next few weeks, we'll continue to start dropping some stuff about the upcoming Patreon that we're launching, which very excited about.
Very excited.
Stay tuned for that.
And with that, I believe it is time for a crispy high five.
I believe you are correct.
Bye.
Bye.
I was going to offer you water, but I can't remember the last time I had shellfish and if I have washed my water since then.
That's okay. Don't kill me, please.
Try
How did it end? It's just because you gave me a shrimp straw.